At 4ZZZ, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we broadcast. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging of the Turrbal and Jagera people. We acknowledge that their sovereignty over this land was never ceded.
And we stand in solidarity with them.
You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ, amplifying the trans and gender non-conforming voices of Brisbane and beyond.
Hello, you're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. I'd like to begin the show by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which 4ZZZ broadcasts, the Turrbal, Jagera and Jagera people. Sovereignty was never ceded and always was, always will be Aboriginal land. My name is Ez, I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, my name's Hazel, I use she, her pronouns.
And where she, her.
Yeah, put some sauce on it.
Yeah, that's right. And Transmission's all about amplifying the voices of the trans community, whether that be here in Mianjin or around the country or internationally. And we like to talk about, the events that are for the community. So if you're a trans, gender diverse listening out there, if there's events that you'd like to go to or things happening in your community, we're going to tell you all about it. And we do that every Tuesday morning. It's the first segment of our show. And we're also going to catch up on some news because there's some things going out and about. Do some community service announcements as well. And then the rest of the episode, we're going to be chatting with a literal local legend, Evie Ryder. She's sitting in the studio right now, but I got a mic off because I'm just going to leave the tension there. And when we come back, we'll have a chat with Evie about her life, a bit about the work she does and the work that she's been continuing to do for many, many years, not just within this city, but around the country, and just her influence in lots of different communities, including being a skateboarding champion. So yeah, we'll got lots of awesome stuff to chat about. But yeah, first off, the week in community events. Yeah, so QTrans, sexual health webinar with Dr. Fiona Bishop on STI prevention, which is part of essential healthcare for the trans and gender diverse community. This is with ATSAC, which is the Australian Transgender Support Association of Queensland. They're actually going through a revamp and moving towards QTrans. There's a registration link on the Transmission socials at Trans Radio with a Z for the sexual health webinar. It'll be online via Zoom on Tuesday, 6th of August from 6:30 p.m. and it's completely free. But if you're interested, there's that one. There's also up in Maroochy Waterfront, Sunshine Coast, Friday 9th to Sunday the 11th of August. It's completely free, is Yarn's Heel Retreat. Escape the hustle and bustle and join us at our retreat designed to connect, yarn and relax body and spirit. This event for our Sunshine Coast, Fraser Coast and Brisbane North Mob offers a unique blend of healing practices, workshops and community bonding, focusing on cultural healing for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, LGBTQIA+, sister girl and brother boy communities. You can expect mindfulness, healing workshops, creative arts and crafts, nature walks, community bonding activities. You can register also via the link posted on the Transmission socials at Trans Radio with a Z, or you could also email Bailey from the Yarns Heel team at BOGRADY, so Bogrady, at qc.org.au. And the last one that I'd like to mention is that Open Doors Youth Service in Fortitude Valley at 5 Green Square Close have just started their drop-in service. So starting from the August 12th, which is a Monday, every second and fourth Monday of every month, and this is completely free to LGBTQIA+ young people ages between 12 and 24. Are you an LGBTQA+ sister girl, brother boy, young person looking for a safe and supportive environment to hang out in? You can also enjoy a free lunch, hot showers, access to our community closet, and a chance to connect with people who understand and celebrate you. So yeah, that's starting on Monday, August 12th. Yeah, it's pretty rad. So there you go. That's your week of community events. And Hazel, I believe we have some news.
Yeah, well, just a nice piece of good news. I like bringing the good news.
Oh, yes, good news.
So I'm getting this from Gay Times and the Star Observer. London had a Trans Plus Pride rally just the other day, the 27th of July. Not only is this the largest ever Trans Pride March in London, but it's the world's largest Trans Pride March. Estimates are putting 55,000 people in the streets.
Wow.
Which is huge. It coincided with a fascist rally that was happening at the same time as London, and despite minimal reporting, it actually tripled the amount of people at the fascist rally, which is really nice to see, not only anywhere, but particularly in London, which is exporting so much transphobia at the moment. So it's just, really good to see.
Shutting it down. Nice. Gay army. Cool. All right. Well, so in some other news, this is from Q News here in Mianjin and by Dr. Rhys. Mpox is on the rise. Mpox has decided to make an unwanted return visit to Australia, which is causing quite a stir. Cases are rising in Australia, and we must stay informed and prepared. But don't worry, there are simple steps we can take to protect ourselves and our community. So I'm reading this as I'm not the person who wrote it. Dr. Rhys is excellent GP at Holdsworth House, if you're wondering. What's the situation? So as of mid-2024, Australia has seen a notable increase in Mpox cases. But unlike Taylor Swift, Mpox isn't just visiting Sydney and Melbourne. The rise is partly due to increased awareness and better diagnostic capabilities. But it also indicates that the virus is spreading more than we'd like, both here and around the globe. So what is Mpox? Well, Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, is a viral disease, similar to smallpox, but generally less severe. The name change happened partly because monkeypox could be seen as a bit, insensitive, and we don't want any misunderstandings about who the virus affects. Symptoms often start with fever, headache, muscle aches, and exhaustion, followed by a rash that usually appears in the genital area, but can be on any part of the body. It spreads through close contact with an infected person or contaminated materials. So, wasn't there a vaccine for Mpox? Correct. Getting vaccinated against Mpox is crucial for specific groups, including all gay and bisexual men, cis and trans, and their sexual partners, sex workers, and individuals living with HIV or immunocompromised conditions, if they are at risk of Mpox exposure. So you should definitely look at getting a vaccination if you can. Did you only get one dose last time round? It's essential to get a second dose, ASAP, regardless of how long your first dose was. As long as it's within the last 28 days, you're eligible to get the next one. So you can contact your local GP. You can actually ask to get them. There are some clinics around as well. I'll get back to you on that. I'll put some posts up on the Transmission socials at Trans Radio with a Z. You can also follow Dr. Rhys Young, who specialises in LGBTQI plus health and sexual health, at Dr. Rhys Young on Instagram, Rhys, R-H-Y-S, because he's cool. I guess that's how he spells his name. And you can follow him there for health updates. You can also follow Q News as our local LGBTQI plus news source. So that's all we have. Did you have any other news?
Not news, but I'm an Ipswich girl, and it's bloody Queerswitch this weekend in Ipswich.
Queerswitch.
I'm not going to shut up about it. It's the second we've ever had. The queer community in Ipswich is trying to make itself seen. So come down. It's 1 p.m, 6 p.m. this Saturday at Tolmer Place in Nicholas Street Precinct. So if you're around Ipswich and you want to get to know the community or you just want to support, come on.
Yeah, and then when you're done throughout the day, you can go to Banshee's Bar and have a beverage.
Hell yeah. The after party.
The after party, that's right. Amplifying the voices of the trans and gender non-conforming community of Mianjin, Brisbane and beyond.
Transmission on 4ZZZ brings you the latest in trans community news, music and events.
Every Tuesday from 9am till 10am.
Join our team of hosts for an hour of celebrating the unique perspectives of the trans community.
Transmission, Tuesday mornings from 9am till 10am on 4ZZZ. You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns.
My name is Hazel. I use she, her pronouns.
And we've got a special guest in the studio this morning. Hi, Evie. How you doing? Name and pronouns. Go on.
Hello, everyone. My name's Evie Ryder, and I use she, her pronouns.
You! Yeah, Evie Ryder. Is it Evie Ryder because you ride skateboards?
Well, it's a mixture of, yes, I ride skateboards. I also ride motorbikes sometimes. I ride roller skates.
Ride
Hell
all
yeah.
of the things.
And also, it's it sort of rhymes with the movie Easy Rider. So hopefully people think of the movie, how cool it was, and think how easy it is to be friends with me. So hopefully it kind of achieves all those things.
It's really easy to be friends with Evie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many layers to that. It's
Yeah,
so detailed. I love
so many
it.
puns. I'm going to start with mentioning that my name before Ez was Evie. Same spelling as well, E-V-I-E. And you used to work at Open Doors, was that right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and now I work there.
Wow.
And funnily enough, I sit in your seat.
Oh my God, parallel worlds.
Yeah, I know.
Fine.
I sit in your seat at Open Doors, And you know how there's the phone on the desk?
Yes.
The phone has been given the name Evie on the desk. And so I was sitting there yesterday at work and I'm like answering a call and I went, why is my dead name on this phone? Look. And then I was like, wait, I'm going to mention this with Evie tomorrow on air.
It's historic, channeling historic people through the phone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. So, Evie, tell me, so you've been doing so much community work here in the city for so many years. I don't even really know where to begin. I don't know if you know where to begin, but whereabouts, when did you start getting into activism? When did you start getting into community work?
Well, maybe about 25 years ago. I grew up in a town called Mosman, which is like north of Cairns.
Oh, you grew up in Mosman?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I know all about Mosman.
Great. Well, I could talk about Mosman for some time. But so I grew up and I went to that high school. And I went from there to James Cook University and joined the queer collective there. And from there, got myself my first social work job working with the Queensland Council for LGBTI Health as the Gay Men's Sexual Health Promotion Officer. I was probably the first trans woman they employed at that time. So went from there and went on to eventually work in Brisbane and just getting involved in all kinds of community groups and events. Transitioning and getting to just also really grow my skateboarding career and my filmmaking life as well at the same time.
Wow, so busy. Yeah, creative, doing community work. Gosh, I can see the parallels between us. So 25 years ago, that would have been like the early noughties, late 90s. What was that landscape like, in southeast Queensland around that kind of work?
Well, it was a time when, there wasn't any. It was hard to even hear radio stations like this. Even to know that there was the media around. I felt like I was probably the only trans person I'd never met in the world at the time, and I was lucky. I kind of met a really group of passionate, strong, trans, feminine sex workers in Cairns that kind of guided me through the community and gave me strength and courage to be myself and who I am today. So it was on one hand, it was like quite isolating being in that small kind of town community, but then finding that there were still people doing this work in all different ways and supporting people really helped build my strength. And it's just grown so much. I never imagined that there would be a radio show called Tranzmission, let alone, a service called Open Doors as well. And that I'd one day end up doing a student placement there and then go on to be many roles in that space, from the AOD support worker to helping young people with housing, on mental health and that kind of space.
Yeah, and you've been doing that for so long. And so when did the skateboarding come into this? Is this something you've always done? You've always been a skater?
Yes, I have always been a skateboarder. It's one of those things I kind of picked up before I was in Mosman. I spent a bit of time in Fremantle on the west side and learned how to skateboard at the wool sheds there. And I felt like after transitioning, I actually got better at skateboarding. I think the hormones make you, I feel like, more brave and fearless.
Picked up some steez.
Yeah. And I found like, all the body changes added extra balance and dimensions to my skateboarding that I'd never had before. And so, transitioning in that skateboarding space was a little bit nerve-wracking. So I had a little break in that space, but when I came back to it back in Brisbane, I started coaching my friends and community how to skate. And from there, I got back into competing and ended up getting sponsored and, traveling around the world, winning competitions and that kind of stuff. And skating with some of the people in the Olympics today, like Chloe and Hayley Powell. And I had a fair bit of connection with that community over the years in terms of helping nurture and foster, like, inclusive skate spaces.
Wow.
So we run a group today called We Skate Brisbane, We Skate Queensland, and it's all about how do we make a safe space for everyone of all different skates. If you're just like rolling around or connecting to that space, how do you connect and enjoy that wonderful sport and environment?
It's amazing. You were in the top 10 skateboarders in the country for women's category. Is that right?
Yeah. I think I came 8th in the sort of national competition in Melbourne a few years ago.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I didn't think I'd ever get to that point in my life. And then I think the last competition I did was actually on the Gold Coast, and I was in the what they called it. It was like the old man's competition or something. They let me enter, and I was like, well, I'll just do it. And I ended up winning that one. I was like, yeah. Take
Yes,
that,
yeah, absolutely.
binary systems.
Yeah, crushing them, absolutely crushing them. That's amazing. Oh, congrats. I also, because I work with a couple of your former colleagues, and it was giving me some goss on a bit of your career as well, and apparently you skated for the Queen at the Powerhouse.
Yeah, well, you know how it is.
Current Queen Camilla.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Queen,
Wow.
me, like, we're just hanging out at the Powerhouse together. It was a Women of the World conference, and they asked me to do a skate demo / skate lesson for people to you know, just a different way to engage people in that kind of those topics. And Camilla was one of the formal guests, and where I was doing the skate demo, Camilla was out greeting people as well, and we could wave and say hello and from a distance, but technically it's a skate demo with the Queen.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
That's crazy.
I mean, not that, you know, I have my opinions about the monarch, but I also heard that Pauline Hanson approached you for some skating at some point, which is interesting.
That is right. Well, you would be surprised how the wheels of politics and the skateboarding inclusivity work.
The overlap.
The overlap is tremendous. I was, so as you know, with the We Skate Queensland crew, and we do a lot of work trying to make inclusive skate spaces happen. And we are really supportive of local skate parks. And one of them is a really amazing, cool skate park in Ipswich called Rap Attack. And they were getting a lot of harassment from local councils to actually set up and almost prevented from setting up an indoor skate park, which is like, no. And someone who stepped in at that time was Pauline Hanson and argued that the skate park should go ahead.
Wow.
And so Pauline Hanson was then invited to the opening of that skate park, and so was We Skate Queensland. And although I am really grateful for the skate park and I love the people that work there and they're amazing and it's an amazing skate park, I said I couldn't actually support that event because of Pauline Hanson's political views aren't entirely nice to trans crew.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people in our community, so I had to step back and I said I'll support many other events, but I probably can't do that one.
Yeah, you're like, no, not that one. I'll skate for the Queen Camilla though. Wow, that's so interesting. Pauline Hanson has some pretty interesting perspectives on lots of things, really.
Yeah.
She actually has. I was watching Gruen. You know, maybe I'm like in my 60s when I say that, but
Oh,
I'm
I
not.
love Gruen.
But
Yeah.
I was watching Gruen, and it turns out that Pauline Hanson actually has like a stubby cooler line, and there's like a pink one, a blue one, and then there's like a purple one, and there's a pink one which is like, this is a stubby cooler for the girls, and the blue one's like, this is a stubby cooler for the boys, and then the purple one is, this is a stubby cooler for the gender neutral wankers.
Oh my
Okay. Did she mean to make a bisexual flag with that as well?
I hadn't thought of that, but she.
Maybe she's secretly supportive.
I think I want that.
Maybe there's something she needs to come out about.
I don't mean that. That's a joke. She's very clear about her views.
She is very clear about her views. Anyway, well, let's stop talking about Pauline Hanson now. So all that you've done, you have an incredible career as a professional skateboarder, and you still obviously do a lot for the community in terms of like nurturing them and teaching young and LGBTQA plus young people how to skate as well. Has that kind of come into the fold with your community work over the years?
Yeah, well, I often find one of the most powerful ways to connect, particularly with younger people, for me has been, bringing skateboarding into my work. I've done therapy sessions on a skateboard, skating along footpath with someone, to little workshops with different community groups that often feel really disconnected and hard to access spaces. Offering skate classes for those people. Today I meet people I did a skate class for 10 years ago, and they go, I remember you from the skate class you taught me. And I'm like, yes, I'm glad you remember something from that skate class. And so it is quite intertwined I also learned a lot of like personal inner strengths from skateboarding around resilience, around perseverance, like continuing to keep trying to achieve things like human rights for trans community. It's keep trying to like land the kickflip. You just got to keep at it. Otherwise, they win. So it's skateboarding's taught me a lot internally in terms of giving me like a lot of personal strength, and also a lot of really powerful connections to diverse community and lessons about how we can make spaces inclusive and accessible for everyone. So it's so intertwined, bringing these worlds together.
Yeah, wow. That's so cool. Okay, well, I have many other questions here, and we've got lots to talk about, and we can talk about them after some music. Thank you so much for sharing about all your skateboarding successes and community work. We're going to go to some music.
Parliament Skate Shop has arrived and is the first and only core skateboarding store in the CBD. Located on Adelaide Street, just 1 block from Brisbane Central Station, the shop boasts a large selection of boards and hardware, as well as the top skateboard clothing and brands. Flash your 4ZZZ subscriber card for an extra 5% off store-wide. Check out the Parliament Skate Shop Instagram and online store, or come and meet the team for real at 303 Adelaide Street, open every day. Proud sub-discount outlet of 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Transmission on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns.
My name's Hazel. I use she, her pronouns. Oh my god, who's here with us?
This is Evie, and I use she, her pronouns.
Whoa, panic! It's another she, her. Wow. Transmission, all about amplifying the voices of the trans community and beyond. We're chatting with the incredible local superstar, icon, and trans activist Evie Ryder, and we're just talking a bit about her skateboarding career, and now we're going to chat a bit more about your role in community and community work and what it is you do now, and like what are you doing? What's happening?
Thanks. Well, currently I'm employed with Carers Queensland, which is partner in the community to NDIS as well. So they do a lot of things in terms of supporting carers, to supporting people with access to the NDIS, and also supporting people once they're on the NDIS, how to use their plans and such.
Okay.
So helping a lot of people with disabilities.
Is there an age range for that, or?
With Carers Queensland, I believe it's 9 to 65.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And so basically, my role at Carers Queensland is LGBTIQA+, LAC, which is local area coordinator, ILC, which is sort of linkages and connecting with community kind of role, which is really amazing in terms of I get to do some really amazing events with community from, helping community with celebrating things like Disability Pride Month, which we recently had the chance to do some events at the Brighton Wellness Hub. They have a space there called the Rainbow Room, and there was an amazing lived experience speaker called Anton that gave a story, and we had some stalls. And it was really good to see sort of celebration of LGBT identity and people with disability in the same space out in that community, as well as recently we did a little event with Jabberoo Community College where we got DJ Gallion to come on board and do like a mixing set with the young people there at the school and talk about being a DJ, and it was just so amazing to sort of be a part of sort of opportunities like that really help give a voice and amplify people with disabilities in our community in terms of their needs and their issues.
Yeah, wow. Sounds like you're busy.
A little bit, yeah. And I guess the biggest thing I wanted to chat about is if there are people in the LGBTI community that want to know more about the NDIS, because there is quite a high crossover of people with disabilities in our community. That we do have this service called the Rainbow Responder sort of email line. It's called rainbow@carersqueensland.com. .au. I believe that's, hopefully I got that address. I can share it afterwards anyway.
Yeah, we'll pop that on the Transmission socials as well.
Yeah, it's an amazing way to sort of send through an email, and you actually get to talk to someone that's LGBT identified at Carers Queensland, that can help you with the NDS questions. So it's or carers caring kind of questions as well. So it's just an amazing way to like connect and connect with. If you're feeling a bit nervous about accessing it is, it can be a bit of an overwhelming kind of experience to access that kind of service.
It's really wonderful that peer-to-peer support work as well, when you're like, oh, someone like me is going to help me. That's great. I feel like it just removes 50% of those barriers straight away when you have
Especially
that.
when it's so personal as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're doing some incredible work. I mean, you've been doing it for 25 years, but still going. Do you have... there's also the July Mini Disability Pride Expo.
Yes, well, that's the one I was just talking about.
Right.
At Brighton Wellness Hub.
Brightness Wellness Hub, okay.
I jumped ahead a little bit. Actually, the part of that hub is called the Rainbow Room, and it's basically peers in our community supporting other people with disabilities to have a safe space, basically at Brighton, which is really amazing to have that outside of the city, a place to connect with people that are volunteering their time.
Yeah, absolutely.
To connect in that space. So, yeah. So as well as that, we're also having a really strong presence in all prides this year. We've had stalls at Gold Coast Pride, Sunshine Coast Pride, North Lakes, Strathpine Pride. We'll have a presence at Ipswich. Or Queerswitch Pride. We're going to have a presence at Wear It Purple in Toowoomba. We're really stepping up in terms of being visible and connecting with the community with this work that we're doing.
Yeah, and so are you going to be at the Brisbane Pride one as well?
Oh yeah, I sure will.
Yes!
This year I'm hoping to organise the largest march of queers and people connected to Carers Queensland and people with disability to march together at the start, and we're going to then put on a free picnic for people after the march, when they have a rest, to get a drink and some food with us, and so that anyone can come and join it. Anyone from the community can come and join that, and then we're gonna go into the Pride Fair Day, where we've got a large stall and have lots of chats and give away lots of merch and connect with people around. Supports around the NDIS and Carers Queensland services.
Yeah, wow, so cool, Evie. It's awesome. I want to ask you one last question before we head off. Do you have any advice for any young people? Anything that you would say to young trans people today? As an elder in the community, you've been doing this a long time, and you've seen a lot of really intense changes, and we've been going through some pretty big stuff as a trans community. The world has all eyes on us now, unlike any other time before. I was just wondering if you had any words of wisdom.
Well, there's so many things you could say. I guess one of the big things I found struggling when I was younger was, there was such a great sense of isolation and, would people accept me? And I guess what I've come to learn is there actually is a wonderful, loving community out there that do love you and do accept you and want you to live your most fullest and best life, and will do everything they can to support you and care for you. And it might not always be the easiest to connect with that community or find that community, but they are there, and they really, they exist in places like Open Doors, they exist in places like QC, they exist here at 4ZZZ. So please, there is so much love and care and just value, and you are valued, and I guess the other thing is just stay strong, and in the face of all this, horrible stuff that's out there in the media, stay strong.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. It's really... I also wanted to acknowledge you as well, Evie, as a member of the community. You've been doing this kind of work for so long, 25 years, and not once have you won an award at Brisbane Pride or been acknowledged for your contributions for trans people in this community. And I want to use this 4ZZZ platform this morning to actually congratulate you on everything that you've done for the community. I know that in many ways, if you weren't doing what you were doing 25 years ago, I might not be here because of the services that you were able to help establish, the presence that you've had, the representation that you are. So thank you so much for doing that, because it's continuing to keep young trans people alive and keeping our community interesting and exciting, and you're just paving the way. You're like you're a trailblazer. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's been amazing, and I'm always so inspired by the wonderful work that my community is doing, and other leaders like yourself. like trailblazers to me and really inspire me as well.
Aw,
That's
okay.
so sweet.
Thank you so much, Evie, for coming on, and thanks Hazel for hanging out as well.
Hi. Thanks.
We'll be back next Tuesday with more incredible trans news. Yeah, all the best, and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Transmission. See you next Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. on 4ZZZ.